Before the commercial break, I asked you, what's something you want to touch on? Something that maybe Charles or the media didn't think of, or something you want to tell people?
I guess one thing I'd like to tell the people about is my credentials and what qualifies me to be sheriff.
Okay.
And I started this career with the sheriff's office when I was 21 years old.
Okay.
I worked 3 years in the patrol division, and then I was promoted to criminal investigator in 2003.
Pretty quick, wasn't it?
3 years, I mean.
Yeah.
And so in 2005, I had the opportunity to attend the Virginia Forensic Science Academy School of Crime Scene Technology. That's 2.5 months. You live in Richmond and you learn.
Kind of the CSI stuff?
That's a good example of it, CSI.
Okay. Yeah, right.
And you learn all the ins and outs of working crime scenes.
What's this job like compared to TV, what we see on TV? I know they solve it in an hour.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is there any similarities?
There are no similarities to TV. There's no solving it in an hour. Most agencies, very few in the entire country, have in-house forensics laboratories to actually conduct processing of DNA and things like that.
Right.
When in fact, if we take a DNA sample, it is sent to the Virginia Department of Forensic Science, located here in Roanoke.
Is one of the reasons to keep the separation?
I think the training and the knowledge those people have to have, and the expense of setting up a laboratory would be cost prohibitive for everyone except for the largest agencies in this country.
Other than the school system, aren't you our biggest payout?
Probably.
In the sheriff's office?
Almost $20 million budget annually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. All right, let's take some calls here. I'm asking everybody that calls in to be polite and respectful. Hello, you're on the air. Hello, you're on the air. All right, let's go to the next one. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, my name is Tanya, and I would like to know a little bit about Wayne's qualifications. And I also want to say to him, thank you very much for your service.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll make sure our producers are getting the other line on hold. You spoke a little bit on your qualifications, but I give me another. Give me another qualification.
So I've been a supervisor inside of the Henry County Sheriff's Office since 2000.
Have you had to fire people?
Only the sheriff can hire and fire people.
Has he had you ever go in and do it?
I have unfortunately been part of disciplinary proceedings where employees were dismissed.
Okay, I got you. Because that's the real stuff. You know, one thing I learned about management, until you had to fire somebody, I mean, that's when it's real. Yep. Good afternoon, you on the air?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Davis. I have a two-part question.
Yes, sir.
My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that most law enforcement agencies require at least a high school diploma. Is that correct?
High school diploma or equivalent.
Okay. And like the Martinsville Police Department, they require an associate's degree. Is that right?
I do not know the hiring requirements of the Martinsville Police Department.
What's the level of your education?
I have some college and several thousand hours of professional education. And to answer the question, yes, I do have a GED. I have an equivalency diploma. A little unknown fact, Charles, is when I was 8 years old, I was adopted by a grandmother.
Okay.
And so growing up, sometimes she didn't have the energy to keep up with me, and sometimes I didn't oftentimes have the best guidance system to point me in the right direction. So in high school, I come up a few credits short, and I chose to get my GED instead of attending high school an additional year.
Right.
Then I started at Patrick and Henry Community College and received some training, but I didn't feel like I had the financial means to go to college because I had to go to work and start to help with some financial responsibilities at home.
Right.
And so I chose to come to work at the sheriff's office, and my professional education is second to none.
Well, and how about Hard Knocks?
And so in addition to that,
I
wouldn't consider having an equivalency diploma to be a handicap for me. In fact, I consider it to be a success story because on many occasions, it's given me the opportunity to go speak with the youth about it and talk with them about guidance, how to move their life forward and make good decisions. But also, if you don't make the best decision, it's always recoverable, and you can still be a success story and have a good life.
Right, and you're going to be sheriff in July.
That is correct.
Right, so okay, all right. Does that answer your question?
I have one more small question, if it's okay.
All right.
So if you've had ambitions to become sheriff, why haven't you furthered your education?
Like I said, I have taken many college courses. In fact, I had just gotten my stuff to complete my bachelor's degree at Liberty. I didn't know that I would be seeking the office of sheriff this quickly. It came upon me before I had a chance to proceed with that. I had intended on completing that over this next term of Sheriff Perry's, but again, he chose to not seek a term. But in fact, in April of this year, I will be awarded the Virginia Sheriff's Institute certification, which recognizes sheriffs and deputies for a lifetime of learning and achievements. And there are about 8,500 deputies in the Commonwealth, and a very small percentage have ever achieved that award.
All right. All right. How about that?
Thank you, sir.
All right. Good afternoon. You on the air?
Good afternoon, Charles. How are you?
Okay. What's your question?
I got a couple of questions. One is he expecting any further investigations and arrest in the Hensley case? And if not, why not?
All right. He told us in the beginning here that because that's a
Let
legal...
him answer his own question.
All right.
The man can talk.
All right. Be respectful, please.
I am being respectful, but he needs to answer the question. I didn't ask you the question. I asked him the question.
You better
Charles.
be respectful of me as well. All right.
No, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking.
Sorry. Good evening. You on the air? Hello?
I've got a question to Wayne Davis.
All right. Go ahead.
If elected sheriff, how would you handle a situation if your employees was having an extramarital affair?
Okay.
And the second question is, have you ever had an extramarital affair?
Well, the first thing I will say that is anything that has ever happened in my private life is a personal matter.
Right.
And it took many mistakes to get me to the man I am today.
Wow.
And unfortunately, there are many people in this community who would like to continually remind others of their failures, when in fact, myself and each of us have things in our background, and we have stuff that we could have done differently, but aren't we all very thankful for a God who forgives us?
Wow. Let me ask you though, if you when you're sheriff and that you see it's happening, and do you think it can be disruptive?
It can certainly be disruptive, and you
Right.
encourage your employees to do the right thing, and you build an environment where you can foster them to do the right thing.
Right.
And so with that being said, there are court rulings that you can only intervene in an employee's personal life to a certain degree.
Right. Oh, one of the things when I follow sheriffs, I mean, sheriffs in Virginia seem to be able to have this amazing power, that not everybody has. I mean, the power is a little bit different than, and especially since you're elected. I mean, so it's kind of you're the last word, I think, right?
But again, it goes back to the sheriff's role. The sheriff is elected by the people, for the people, and he is answerable to those people.
I got you.
So the power ultimately belongs to the people. They've just entrusted it to the sheriff.
Right. But you're not coming in and saying you're perfect.
Absolutely not. There will be no perfect candidate in this race, nor any other race.
Okay. Star News, you on the air? Hello, you on the air? You on the air? Go ahead.
So I have a question regarding the investigation. So how did fentanyl get into the jail 4 days after, and how did he overdose 4 days after he got there?
All right. That's something you're ready to answer, aren't you?
Sure. So unfortunately, fentanyl has gotten into our correctional facility, as long as most other correctional facilities across this country.
One in the city. Steve Draper had to address that last year, I think.
We have seen it in most correctional facilities across the country.
How does it get in there?
Well, the most common route that fentanyl will enter a correctional facility is through the body cavity of an inmate or the body cavity of another inmate, where it will be passed off. And one thing people have to remember is it only takes a finite, tiny amount that would fit under your fingernail of fentanyl to overdose. So those can be concealed in the tiniest of cellophane bags or corners and disguised and hidden within a body cavity, which would render them almost undetectable.
Right. Okay. You have another question?
I have one more question.
All right.
Why was the inmate that died denied medication that he needed to live by Sheriff Perry?
All right. Did you hear it? Being a legal matter, he can't discuss that right now. I do understand that.
I do, but I was just asking the question.
All right. You want to stab at that one? Or?
Well, first I say that Sheriff Perry didn't personally deny him anything, but as far as that, we're pretty confined after consultation with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. We're pretty confined to what we can and cannot say about that particular case.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Tough questions, but good ones. You
Sure.
know, yeah.
Sure.
Hello, you on the air?
Yes, I have a question for Wayne.
All right.
I was wondering if there has been any domestic violence in your immediate family.
Again, that's a personal matter that has nothing to do with my professional life.
Right. We have to respect that, and you know, I respect what you said. That you're looking at the future. I mean, are you comfortable with that caller or not? You there?
Yes, that's fine.
All right. I mean, did somebody put you up to this?
No, absolutely not.
All right. Well, how do you feel about it as a taxpayer? Do you think we ought to have to examine everything in his life, or what?
Well, I mean, you examine everybody else, so I figured it was a reasonable question.
Who else have we examined?
Well, any candidate running.
Yeah, a lot of times it's their opponents that might bring it up. But I mean, none of us have had a perfect life. Have you?
Nope.
Good question, Charles.
Right.
It's a question,
Right. Right. Look at me. Lord have mercy, I'm a case. But I respect your answer there. You didn't say I was perfect, but hey, let's move forward, right?
Sure.
All right. I mean, anytime during a campaign this gets this way, I mean, is that the best way you want to deal with it? Is say, hey, I'm not perfect, but.
So, like I said, no one is perfect.
Right.
There's only been one perfect being that walked this earth, and that was Jesus. And
Right.
He's not running for sheriff of Henry County.
Right. Star News, you on the air?
Yes, I've got something to ask Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, do you remember investigating a little boy when you was in investigations that was 6 months old and he had a head injury?
Did I personally investigate it?
You and Mr. Stanley.
I've not personally conducted any investigations since the year 2009. I have generally oversaw.
It was 2014.
Okay.
All right. Can you ask a question without getting?
Well, the reason I'm asking is I want to know why it wasn't completely investigated when only 2 people in the home were talked to, and there were 7 other people in the home that were adults. This is a 6-month-old child we're talking about.
Well, in order to give you an accurate and factual answer, I'd need some more information. I would need to look at this particular case file so I could speak educated about it.
Well, is this something that I got her number that you could talk to her about?
Absolutely, I'd be willing to talk to her about it.
Well, no, I'm asking about it because, as my grandson, and I'm going to say it that way, he was, I feel like he was failed because everybody was scattering and running because they didn't want to be investigated. I don't have a problem with talking to him because nobody wanted to reach out and talk to me because the mother was lying.
Well, I believe Charles has your number here.
All right.
I will be glad to call you so we can discuss it.
I'm trying to get it. Because I don't think, I know when you've been there 30 years that there's a lot is taking place, and I like people to have a chance to work things out, but I don't think we can work out all that on the air like this. And I don't think it's totally fair either. But I appreciate tough questions, but I got to watch it as I host the show too. Hello, you on the air? Hello, you on the air?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions.
All right.
Well, it sounds like he's a very smart man, but does he have common sense?
Okay.
Do you believe that our country is heading into a communist country?
This is Conspiracy Man, by the way.
I'm not familiar with conspiracy.
Okay, I got you. But, all right, well, let's do the first question. Common sense. Do you hear what he's saying there?
I most certainly have common sense. That's
Right.
how I've made it this far.
Good answer. That's a good answer. All right, what's your other question?
Well, there's people like me that's being censored on Facebook, and it's called Facebook jail. They're censoring information.
That's private industry.
Yeah, but that's socialism can lead to communism and open borders, the currency, lawlessness, just everything that our country's been through for the past 2.5 years. All I'm asking is, who is 10% for the big guy? Who is that?
I'm not sure either. I don't know. Let me ask you this. Can you tell me what political persuasion you are?
So I've always been an independent. I've never been registered as a Democrat or a Republican.
Have you voted for both?
I have.
Okay.
And I will be honest, in law enforcement, there is no place at all for party line politics.
No.
Being a member of the executive branch of government, the sheriff's job is simply to enforce the existing laws. And so we can't look conservative and or liberal when we can enforce those. We need to do what the letter of the law says.
All right. 656-2255 if you want to get a question here. We almost get to the end of the show. I've been amazed at how you've answered the questions tonight. You haven't overpromised. You hadn't said I'm perfect.
Well, I'm an honest man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell you lies or tell you lies or make you promises I can't keep for a vote. It's just not going to happen.
Right. But you're not going to get in a tit for tat if somebody says you did something 10 years ago or 15 years. That's what.
Absolutely not. This campaign is really simple for me. It's not about any other challengers in this race. It's not about.
Well, Mr. Mills said he was going to run a clean campaign. Now, what does that mean to you?
Well, I would like to think that it would mean don't encourage people to call in with questions to try to run a smear campaign.
Right.
But I would like. I can't speak for any other candidate.
Right.
All I can say is this race is about my qualifications, my leadership experience at the sheriff's office, what I've done today and what I will do tomorrow to move the sheriff's office forward to better serve the citizens right here in Henry County.
Right. When will we learn more about July 1st and the things the changes you want to make?
I will begin working on those and start releasing them. I'll be honest, I intend to just start implementing them, and you'll see them once they're put into place.
Will we see some before July the 1st?
You will probably see some before July 1st.
Will they have the blessing of the current sheriff?
Sheriff Perry is the sheriff until June 30th. It is his office, and I respect that. Right. And he will have the final authority and say on all decisions until that date.
Right. But if he'll let you implement some things, we might see some stuff before the 1st. Is that? Yes,
I have discussed going ahead and implementing some things with him.
Right.
And I intend to move forward with some things that he gives me the blessing.
What did he think about you coming on tonight?
He was fine with it.
Okay. Okay. Wow. It's been an interesting night. I've been really interested in the answers and everything. All right, if we got anybody who's got another quick question, please be respectful. Been doing live TV is not easy. I enjoyed your opponent last week. I thought he was super respected. Do you think I've been fair with you tonight? Let me ask you that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, some of these callers are a little. You can say a little rough.
Well, like I said, there's people who want to go back 10, 15 or more years and bring up the past, and I don't live in the past. I only look forward into the future.
I got you. All right. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, I know he can't talk about the Hensley case, and I know a lot of people are wondering and asking a lot of questions. But why ain't Lane Perry liable for any of that when he was the sheriff of that jail?
All right.
That's
well,
all I want to know.
I'm gonna help you on that one. I'm gonna help you. I mean,
that's the hiring of that company.
That would be a question you got to ask.
Rely on him to be.
That would be a question you got to direct to the sheriff. Wayne is not the sheriff yet.
That is correct.
Right. I mean, and I'll protect you on that one because it's like you're not sheriff until July 1st, and you can't answer for the sheriff, and I wouldn't do it.
No, it's not my place to answer questions on behalf of Sheriff Perry.
Yeah, you're going to. It's something trying to do the campaign. You're going to have to pay some of the prices for some of the things he's done. You got him if that's going to come.
Well, like I said, I've enjoyed a good friendship and a good working relationship with Sheriff Perry. However, we are two different individuals, and we have different ideals on moving the sheriff's office forward. And I respect his ideals, and he respects.
I'm a tough reporter. I got to ask you, what's the major difference between you two?
At this point in our career, and instead of doing things the same way we done yesterday, I'm looking for new ways to do them in the future.
Future ways?
Yes.
Technology?
Yes.
Touch on that a little bit. I want to hear that.
As far as technology?
Yeah.
We just completed a grant last week to implement some really good technological advances right here that will serve every citizen of this community. And we'll know by early May whether we got that grant approved.
Right. How are you writing grants? Have you got any experience at that?
I have a little experience writing grants, yes.
Right. So do you have anybody in the office? I heard Steve Eames was really good at that.
He was a good grant writer, and that's one of the things I've worked with him over the last several years on, is trying to learn some of what he done budgeting wise.
Right. Can you bring him in as a consultant?
He's a phone call away if I need a question answered.
I got you. You think he'll help you?
Absolutely. I've reached out to him and spoke with him on a couple fiscal matters already.
Right. How about everybody that's got a job right now? Will they have a job July the 1st?
Absolutely. I believe in the men and women who work at the Henry County Sheriff's Office. Every single one of them is an integral part of the team, and they will all be part of my team. I believe in promoting from within, because when we bring back people who's retired or worked outside of the agency, we take promotional opportunities from the men and women who have served and dedicated their careers to the Henry County Sheriff's Office.
All right. Will you agree to a debate with your opponent at this station?
I will debate with any challenger.
Wow. More than once?
More than once, but we need to put a limit on it. We can't have we can't have a debate every week.
I got you. You know me, I have one every day. I'm trying to think of nobody else has another question. All right. I really do appreciate you coming on tonight. I feel like I got to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
Through this process. I mean, and of course, you know the smear stuff's going to start. I've never done a sheriff's race that it didn't.
Absolutely. But I'll speak on that for a minute, Charles.
Okay.
My career has continually been progressive. I've worked my way through the ranks, and I made the statement earlier that I will be transparent to you as a sheriff.
Right.
And so what I will do is, if anybody has a question about me or my work history, I will make my employee file that has everything in it from day one public record.
Okay.
For any citizen to review. You can put it on the air. That includes annual performance reviews and anything contained therein.
Yep.
In my 23 years, I have never been written up. I have never been suspended. I have never been demoted. Mm-hmm. I have never been reassigned from any position because I wasn't performing appropriately. And I would challenge any other candidate in this race to do the same.
Wow. So let me hear that one more time to make sure I heard it right.
What's that?
You challenge it. You take your work record.
Anyone who wants to run in this sheriff's race should make their work history as a law enforcement officer.
Because there could be some more folks that might run, right?
Absolutely. We don't know how this race will shape up.
Right.
We're several months away from the filing deadline, so.
Right. Well, I'm going to say thank you for coming on tonight. I've been impressed with your answers.
Well, thank you.
You haven't overpromised. I do think that we'll have a better media relationship.
Absolutely.
I don't have a real agenda. So can you see that?
No, I don't see any agenda.
I just want to. I'm responsible for this, and I want to be able to tell the truth the best way I can.
Sure, and I want to get the truth out there.
And I don't want to hurt an investigation.
No.
I don't want to do that. That's not my game.
And as far as media relations go, you know, Charles, when that happened to you over at the apartments.
You were here.
You know, I came to seek you out.
Right.
And
what did you think of that? That's a good one. How about the Miracle House of Hope that keeps popping up in our town?
Well, again, if you remember, I reached out to you, Charles, when I found out you'd been victimized. I reached out to you.
But these guys keep coming back, and there's ordinances that deal with them. So
what I would ask is, if you or anyone else sees them, please call and report it to us so we can get on it before they leave town.
Right. South Carolina says they're a scam because they will not tell the public where the money goes. And they can't do it in Charlotte. WSOC is always on them all the time in Charlotte. So every time they come, I go down there and talk to them, and I know they're not telling the truth because I covered the ordinance that got put on the books to keep this stuff from happening. But this stuff happens a lot down there. So you just say give you a call, right?
Give me a call.
Okay. All right. But for all the problems we do have in our community, we don't need people coming in and giving us new problems.
Absolutely not.
Right. All right. So you're going to be kind of committed to dealing with that one?
I will commit to dealing with that one, as well as every other issue that we have. I will be a very aggressive law enforcement sheriff.
Okay. All right, here's another one. One of the things I think y'all are bad at now is listen to when the public's got when they got some stuff stolen, like Ray Reynolds' situation.
Okay.
I don't think people feel like, I know y'all are very busy and stuff, but they don't feel like their issue matters. Does that make sense to you?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Right. So to me, if you could go to the sheriff's office on a regular basis and talk to somebody about it, like a clearinghouse, to get your questions answered or to make a call or something all the time, at least 9 to 5, I think that would be a great help to the people.
So one of the things people may not know is we have an investigator on duty from 9 to 5 at the sheriff's office who's available to speak with anyone at the front desk.
Okay.
And that's been in place for many years now.
Right.
So that service is already available.
So what number do you call to get that?
You walk in the front lobby of the sheriff's office.
I can walk in on a 9 to 5.
And there's an investigator who is assigned to lobby duty. He is there
Okay.
awaiting to speak with anyone who may come in with complaints.
Wow. Okay.
That's been in place for 5 or more years.
Okay. What do you call that? Is that the on-duty?
We call him the lobby duty investigator.
Lobby duty investigator.
Yep.
So if I need something to put on my insurance, report on my insurance, he can help me with that?
There will be someone who can help you with that.
Right.
Obviously sometimes we'll have more than one person come in and he could be backed up, but if he's tied up, we will ensure someone is there to help you.
All right. I'm good to know that. Good. Did you see the show I did with the blind guy?
I did.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who that guy was calling in. Does he work with y'all?
Which one?
I don't know. It was one of the call-ins that, just taking up alarm, and it didn't make out.
He does not work with us.
Yeah. Okay. That was rough.
Yeah, he does not work with us.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, I think listen, and I think you've listened tonight. I give you that. I think listening and I think this could be a really interesting campaign. We always learn a lot during campaign season. And let me ask you this: at the end of campaign season, which will be, I guess, November the something, where do you want to be?
At the end of November?
Right before the election, because I'll come back to this. That's how TV works. In other words, where do you want to be right before election day?
As far as progress I've made?
Yeah.
So before election day?
5 months, isn't it? How many months is it?
Almost 8 months.
Okay, but before November. And so you got July, August, September, October.
Oh, you're talking about from the day I take.
Right. We get like a 4-month trial.
You get a 4-month trial.
Okay.
But like I said, I'm not waiting to July to go to work. I went to work last week when I found out, and they're looking at some ideas. And
is the sheriff letting you take that time?
Yes, sir. He's given me some leeway to look at how I'd like to structure the office.
All right. And when will we first start learning about that?
I will send them out to our local media partners as soon as they take place.
All right. Can you come back at least once a month up until election just to have a conversation like this?
Sure. I'll be glad to come back, speak with you, Charles, and the rest of the citizens.
Okay.
One thing is we have to keep in mind is not only do I have to run a campaign, I have an entire county that I'm entrusted with taking care of, so that gets a little busy at times.
I get it. All right. But I think the importance right now of communicating.
Sure.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. What a fascinating show this has been. I've learned a lot. Stay with us. The news continues. Good show.